Welcome to the deep dive. Today, our mission is really to cut through all the legal complexity and get straight to the strategic heart of intellectual property, IP. Because let's face it, in today's world, IP isn't just some legal box to tick.
No, not at all. It's
Yeah,
really the engine, the core engine driving, well, massive wealth creation, especially for entrepreneurs.
exactly. So we're exploring how these intangible assets build empires.
Right. Think about it. We usually think of property as, tangible things, your house, your car. But the real currency now, it's knowledge, it's creativity.
Uh-huh.
And IP is the mechanism, the tool that turns that intangible stuff into something you can actually own exclusively, something you can profit from.
Yeah.
It lets you tell competitors, nope, you can't use this.
And the numbers involved are just wild. They really show the economic muscle these invisible assets have. Our sources point to the Tropicana trademark, just the name and logo,
Yeah.
valued independently at $1 billion.
Yeah.
1 billion for a word and a picture, basically.
It's incredible. That's pure brand power. And when you look at the tech giants, it gets even bigger. Microsoft's IP portfolio, estimated around $56 billion.
Wow.
That's not their buildings or desks. That's their patents, their software code, their trademarks, their designs. So the big question for anyone listening, especially if you're building something,
Yeah.
how do you actually use these tools to build that kind of protection, that fortress around your business?
Okay, right. Let's unpack that.
Right.
We need to start with the basics, the main tools in the IP toolbox.
Mhm.
Our sources highlight 4 major types, and they each do something different.
Absolutely. You need to know your weapons, so to speak.
Yeah.
The one most people think of first is probably the patent. This protects something genuinely new, a product, a process.
It gives you a monopoly for a set time.
Exactly. Usually 20 years. That's your exclusive window to really capitalize before it, enters the public domain.
Okay, then there's the trademark. That sounds more about identity. It is. It protects your brand identity, words, logos, names. Think Tata, Bata, Reliance, or that Mercedes-Benz star. Instantly recognizable. And the key thing here, trademarks can potentially last forever if you keep renewing them.
Indefinitely. That's powerful for long-term brand building. What's next?
Copyright. This one protects the expression of an idea, not the idea itself. So think literary works, music, films.
Mhm.
Even software source code falls under this.
And how long does that last?
Generally, it's the author's lifetime plus 60 years after their death. So quite a long time.
Okay, and the last one? Industrial design.
Right. This is all about the look, the aesthetics, how a product appears, like the unique shape of a designer chair or the body styling of a car. It's purely visual.
So why is understanding this whole framework so critical for a business?
Well, because IP is fundamentally about incentive. Think about the massive investment needed for innovation, sometimes years, decades, millions, or even billions of dollars.
Right, huge risks.
Exactly. Companies wouldn't take those risks if they knew that the moment they succeeded, anyone could just scoop in and copy it for free. IP gives them that protection, that temporary monopoly that makes the investment worthwhile.
It justifies the gamble. Okay, so we know the tools. Now, let's see how they actually build these billion-dollar ventures. We have to start with maybe the most famous example. A single patent launching a giant. Google.
Ah, yes. Google's whole empire essentially started with one groundbreaking patent, the PageRank algorithm.
Just one.
Initially, yes, that was the core. And that IP was actually assigned to Stanford University where it was developed. Now get this for value. By 2005, Stanford had reportedly made around $336 million just from licensing that one patent, mainly back to Google itself.
$336 million from one patent license deal, that's staggering. It shows how a single strong IP right can give you that unbeatable edge early on.
Absolutely, it was their foundation.
But holding patents tightly isn't always the play, is it? Our sources highlight a really counterintuitive move from Elon Musk and Tesla. They made their solar energy patents public, open source.
That's right. He announced they wouldn't sue anyone using their electric vehicle patents, essentially opening them up. It seems backwards, right? Why give away your tech?
Yeah, weren't they just arming competitors? How did that not blow up in their face?
Well, this is where sophisticated IP strategy comes in, sometimes called strategic fencing, though this was more like tearing down a specific fence. You have to look at Tesla's main goal.
Selling electric cars.
Exactly. Their core business is automobiles. By letting everyone use their foundational charging and battery tech patents, they encourage the whole market to develop faster. More charging stations, better battery tech across the board.
Ah, so it created a better ecosystem for their cars to thrive in. They weren't giving away the car secrets, just the infrastructure secrets.
Precisely. They figured a rising tide lifts all boats, and their boat was the best one. It was a calculated move to accelerate the shift to EVs, which ultimately benefits their core product. Very clever, actually.
Leveraging IP not just for exclusion, but for market shaping.
Okay, now contrast that with a company like Biocon in the biotech space.
Mm.
That's a field where innovation is incredibly complex, expensive, and frankly easier to replicate or work around sometimes.
Right, drug formulations or processes. So how do they protect themselves if patents expire or aren't ironclad?
They do it through sheer volume and strategy,
Yeah.
aggressive, systematic IP accumulation. Biocon started in enzymes, moved into biopharmaceuticals, and they built a huge portfolio over time. We're talking like 1,250 patent filings, over 800 trademarks.
Wow.
It's a continuous investment. In biotech, you often need that dense patent thicket to keep competitors at bay because the R&D is so costly and takes so long.
Right.
One patent might not be enough.
So it's about building layers of protection.
Okay, that makes sense. Now let's shift gears a bit. We've talked about invention, the how it works, but IT isn't just about function, right? Sometimes value is purely in how something looks or feels.
And that takes us right back to industrial design. It's purely the aesthetic value, the appearance. In many industries, consumer electronics, fashion, furniture, etiquette, the look can be the main reason someone buys your product over another.
And we know this has real economic weight because it leads to massive legal fights.
Oh, absolutely. The classic example is the huge, years-long global litigation between Apple and Samsung.
Right, remember that.
A huge part of that wasn't just about the software inside, it was about the design patents. The shape of the phone, the rounded corners, even how icons looked on the screen.
The look and feel itself.
Exactly. Apple argued that Samsung copied their distinctive design language. The sheer amount spent on those lawsuits shows how incredibly valuable a unique appearance can be. It's a major competitive differentiator. And you see that play out all the time in faster-moving consumer goods, too. Our sources mentioned Parle Agro in India. Big beverage company.
Yeah, with brands like Fruity, Appy Fizz, a lot of their success wasn't just the drink, it was clever packaging and branding. That's industrial design and trademark working together.
Like Appy Fizz in that sort of champagne-style bottle, or Appy Classic in the black Tetra Pak.
Precisely. That distinctive packaging stands out on the shelf. It's often protected as an industrial design. Customers are drawn to it just based on how it looks. It's a powerful marketing tool derived directly from IP.
And underpinning all of that, the look, the feel, the function, is the trademark, establishing that long-term goodwill and customer expectation.
That's the bedrock for brand longevity. You hear Tata, and instantly you associate it with a whole range of things: cars, steel, salt, hotels, services.
Yeah, a whole reputation.
Exactly. That single word carries immense weight, communicating quality, expectations, trust, built over decades. Trademarks protect that accumulated goodwill legally, potentially forever. It's arguably the most enduring IP asset.
Okay, so let's distill this down. For the entrepreneur, the SME leader listening, what are the absolute must-do strategic moves? One key concept seems to be fencing. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, fencing is critical for sustained protection, especially in tech. It's not just about having one core patent. It's about building a portfolio of patents, often many smaller ones, around your main invention.
Like building a defensive wall.
Exactly. A wall or a moat. You patent variations, alternative methods, different materials, potential workarounds. Our sources suggest that in big, innovative companies, maybe only 2% of patents are the truly foundational breakthroughs.
Only 2%. So what are the other 98% for?
They're the fence posts. They're strategic. They block competitors from easily designing around your core tech. It forces them to either license from you, paying you, or spend a ton of time and money trying to invent something completely different outside your fenced-off territory. It drastically raises the barrier to entry.
That makes sense. Build the fortress. But even with the best fortress, you can still face attacks, right? Even giants slip up. We have that warning from Google's big copyright fight.
Yes, a really important cautionary tale. Google got into major legal trouble over copyright infringement with their massive book scanning project. It's a stark reminder. You must be aware of other people's IP rights before you launch anything.
But because the fallout can be huge.
Immense. Litigation is incredibly expensive. It drains time and resources, and win or lose, it can seriously damage your brand reputation. You don't want that fight if you can avoid it.
Okay, so avoiding that fight. What are the immediate practical steps, the absolute must-dos for, say, a tech startup launching a new product?
Number 1, non-negotiable. Freedom to operate, or FTO analysis.
What's TO?
Mandatory. Before you invest heavily in manufacturing, marketing, launching, you need to thoroughly search existing patents to make sure your product doesn't infringe on someone else's valid, granted patents.
So check the minefield before you run across it.
Exactly. Skipping FTO is like playing Russian roulette with your entire business investment. You could be shut down by a lawsuit on day one.
Okay, that's critical due diligence. What's the second major tactical imperative, especially around the invention itself?
Absolute confidentiality in the early stages, coupled with filing a provisional patent application as soon as possible. This is crucial for startups, for SMEs.
Why the secrecy and the rush to file?
Because if you discuss the specific details of your invention publicly, even in a pitch meeting, at a conference, maybe even with employees, without NDAs, before you file that first patent application, that disclosure can be considered publication. It puts the invention in the public domain, and that can kill your chances of getting a patent later. The examiner might reject it, saying it wasn't novel when you filed.
So talking about it too early can destroy its patentability.
Potentially, yes. A provisional patent application is relatively cheap and fast to file. It basically gets you a priority date. It plants your flag. It gives you a year of protection to further develop the tech, seek funding, and prepare the full, detailed patent application. Until that provisional is filed, keep the core inventive details confidential.
Got it. Silence is golden until that provisional safety net is in place. This whole deep dive really hammers home the main point. IP isn't some administrative task you do later.
Not at all.
It's a fundamental strategic asset. You need to build it and manage it with the same focus you give to your product, your team, or your funding. It really is the legal architecture of modern business value.
Absolutely. We've moved decisively from an economy built on physical stuff to one built on knowledge, creativity, and the intangible rights that protect them. But, Technology doesn't stand still,
No, it definitely doesn't.
and the law often struggles to keep up with the pace of innovation.
Which seems to set up a pretty interesting challenge for the future, something for you listening to think about. We've established IP as the bedrock of today's wealth creation, but what happens next?
Consider this. As AI gets more sophisticated, capable of inventing things autonomously, creating art, writing code, the existing legal framework starts to look shaky.
How so?
Well, think about a serious accident involving a truly driverless car. Who's liable? Or if an AI independently creates a patentable invention or a hit song, who owns that IP? The programmer, the AI owner, the AI itself. These questions about ownership, liability, and accountability for AI-generated intellectual capital, we're only just beginning to grapple with them. The legal precedents are being written right now as we speak. It's the next frontier.